Bitcoin, the digital gold, the decentralized revolution, the unyielding ledger of truth in a world drowning in financial manipulation. But here's the trillion-dollar question. Can this groundbreaking technology actually scale to serve 8 billion people? Or is it destined to become a relic, a victim of its own rigid design? Strap in. Today, we're tearing open Bitcoin's scaling dilemma, exposing the cracks in its armor, and revealing the high-stakes battle between decentralization and global adoption. Let's start with the cold, hard truth. Bitcoin's base layer is not built for the masses. Every 10 minutes, a new block is added to the blockchain. Thanks to upgrades like SegWit, each block can hold about 4 megabytes of data. But even with that, Bitcoin's throughput is pathetic. 7 transactions per second. 7. Visa handles 24,000. Let that sink in. For 8 billion people to transact directly on-chain, we'd need blocks the size of skyscrapers, mined every nanosecond. Impossible? Not quite. But here's where the plot thickens. Why not just crank up the block size? Make those blocks bigger, faster, stronger? If only it were that simple. Bitcoin's code isn't some corporate app you can update overnight. This is a decentralized beast. A single change requires near universal consensus. And bigger blocks? They're a Pandora's box. Imagine every node on the network suddenly needing to store terabytes of data. Only the tech giants and governments could afford to participate. Decentralization? Gone. Bitcoin's soul? Sold. This isn't theoretical. We've seen this war before. In 2017, the Bitcoin Cash fork tore the community apart. The rebels demanded bigger blocks. The loyalists held the line. Bitcoin Cash lost. Why? Because the core ethos of decentralization isn't negotiable. But this leaves us with a ticking time bomb. How does Bitcoin survive when its block rewards vanish? Right now, miners are kept alive by the block subsidy. 6.25 new BTC minted every block. But every 4 years, that reward gets halved. By 2014-40, it hits zero. Poof, gone. After that, miners live or die by transaction fees alone. But if blocks are tiny and fees too low, miners bail. The network weakens. Attackers strike. The whole system crumbles. This is why Bitcoin's limited block space is a feature, not a bug. Scarcity breeds competition. Want your transaction prioritized? Pay up. This fee market isn't greed, it's survival. But let's be real. If fees skyrocket, Bitcoin becomes a playground for the wealthy. The peer-to-peer electronic cash vision dies. So what's the escape hatch? Enter the Lightning Network, Bitcoin's Layer 2 savior. This is where the magic happens. Open a channel on-chain once, then transact instantly, cheaply, privately, off-chain. No bloated blocks, no waiting, just pure, frictionless value transfer. Sounds perfect, right? Wrong. Lightning has its own demons. First, you still need an on-chain transaction to open and close channels. If billions try to do this simultaneously, the base layer chokes. Second, routing payments across a chaotic web of nodes is like navigating a minefield blindfolded. Liquidity imbalances, channel failures. It's a mess. And worst of all, Lightning forces you to lock up funds. Your money's stuck in a channel until you decide to settle. Convenient? Maybe. Risky? Absolutely. But don't write it off yet. Lightning is evolving. Tools like Wumbo channels and atomic multipath payments are patching the cracks. El Salvador's adoption proves it can work, on a small scale. But for 8 billion, we're not even close. So what's Plan B? Let's talk about the elephant in the room. Custodians. Imagine a world where you own Bitcoin, but it's actually held by a bank, a trusted third party. They handle the transactions internally. No blockchain clutter, instant settlements. Sound familiar? It should. It's the traditional banking system, wrapped in a Bitcoin facade. Companies like Coinbase and Blockstream's Liquid Network are already doing this. They promise efficiency. But at what cost? You're trading self-sovereignty for convenience. And history tells us how that ends. Mt. Gox, Celsius, FTX. Time and again, centralized gatekeepers implode, taking your funds with them. Proof of reserves? A band-aid on a bullet wound. Do you really trust auditors more than code? Side chains like Liquid offer a compromise: federated nodes, faster transactions, confidentiality, but again, trust. Who controls those nodes? Who decides the rules? The answer might keep you up at night. Here's the brutal truth. Bitcoin's path to global adoption is a tightrope walk. On one side, the purists. They'll cling to layer one, paying exorbitant fees for the privilege of true sovereignty. On the other, the masses. They'll flock to custodians and sidechains, trading control for ease, a fractured ecosystem, a two-tiered financial world. But maybe that's okay. Maybe Bitcoin wasn't meant to be everything to everyone. Gold isn't used to buy coffee. Reserve assets aren't meant to be spent. Could Bitcoin's destiny be as a settlement layer, a bedrock of truth, while layer twos and hybrids handle the grunt work? Perhaps, but this vision demands vigilance. Every compromise risks corruption. Every shortcut risks collapse. Finally, if you enjoyed this video, don't hesitate to support the channel through the links down below.